Hello, I'm Ingrid Bryant, a parishioner at Most Precious Blood Catholic Church, the first ever Catholic church in the city of Oviedo. I know it's hard to believe that there never was a Catholic church here. Trust me, I was as surprised as you probably are by that. However, I had a very persistent mother, Anna Hyman, who decided we needed a mass, a church, or somewhere to have a mass back when we came to Chuluota starting in 1959. She managed to get that mission accomplished by a young priest coming from Ireland to Chuluota from St. James Church in Orlando and saying Mass for us on Sunday mornings, hearing confession before Mass, and whatever else needed to be done. He was our go-to priest. It was very well received by the few Catholics that we had in Chuluota. I would say we may have had about, roughly speaking, 50 parishioners. We were very, very, very concerned about getting our own church, so the developer of Chuluota, Mr. Don Loftus, was generous in giving us 7 acres for that purpose, a school and a church. And we thought we had a building fund. We had already named our church Our Lady of the Angels. However, it wasn't in the St. Augustine Diocese plan, which we at that time in the 60s were still the Diocese of St. Augustine. We didn't become the Diocese of Orlando till 1968. So Archbishop Hurley decided to build St. Joseph's first. So our young priest had this building brought over from the coast and placed on Highway 50. There is now an olive garden on that site, and that is where we had our first St. Joseph's Catholic Church, and the people from Chuluota were going there. We also turned over our building fund money to St. Joseph's because we were going to be next to have a church, so they would have helped us get our church. Well, time went on and went to St. Joseph's. 1968 diocese split, and we had our new diocese. Some way along the way we were lost by not getting a church, which was very troubling to me, and I'm sure my mother too. She didn't mention it very much at that point, but I'd send letters to the bishops, and I'd ask the priests, when are we going to get a church in Oviedo? Well, we really don't have enough priests, is what I was told. Chuluota had the property, so I do believe it was Chuluota that I was hoping the church would go to. So along comes 1996, and my mother's dying of lung cancer. And one of her requests to me was, Ingrid, we still don't have a church in Chuluota. And I told her, Mom, I have been working on it. I've been bothering the priests. I've been bothering the bishops. They're not listening to me. She says, well, work harder. I worked at the city of Oviedo, and I was customer service in the finance department at that point. And I had this wonderful lady named Anna Marcantoni that would come in and help me file my agreements that I had to file and so forth, all the work that I didn't have time for. She'd come in, and she informed me that she knew the Spanish community had formed a Grupo Shalom, and Dr. Carlos Velez Munich was heading it up. And I asked her to please get me in touch with him. She says, well, I will get you in touch with Maylin Lopez, and she will see to it that you meet Dr. Velez. So again, we met at his house. I was the most blessed lady in Oviedo when I met this man, because I felt they will listen to him. The diocese will listen to a doctor. And they did. Bishop Norbert Dorsey bought this beautiful property that this church is sitting on. And when he did that, we went to see him, Dr. Velez and I, and we asked him what are they going to do? Are they going to develop it or what? And he told us in 2004 he would have us a mass somewhere on the property. Mind you, it was just trees and grass. And there were some wild hogs because it used to be hunting ground here. So anyway, I planned my retirement because it worked right into that, and I was getting a little being told we don't mix church and state, and it was getting a little compromising, I suppose. Nobody really was saying anything to me about it, but when you ask people that come in and sign up for water, what church do you go to? And they say, well, Catholic. So I tell them they had to go to St. Stephen, St. Joseph, St. Peter and Paul, which were all built before our church, after we had our Chuluota church. And I said, but don't worry, we're getting a Catholic church in Oviedo, and all you need to do is help me pray. So my co-workers, they started calling it Ingrid's church. And they said, if you ever get your church, you will be the one to address the property. I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Fast forward to 2004. After I retired, no, 2003, I was in Barbados. And I came home, and there was a message from my friend Laura Feldman, who was working in the planning department at the city, and she was in charge of addressing. And she said, Ingrid, you have to come in because the diocese is asking for an address. And we told them we get it done, but we can't do it yet. So I went in there, and I addressed this property, and it worked out the way I wanted it. It is now 113 Lockwood Boulevard, which to me signifies, after the naming of the church, I kind of put two and two together. And there was one Jesus, one cross, 3 nails. Our church's name is Most Precious Blood Catholic Church. Archbishop Wensky, who was then the bishop of the Diocese of Orlando in 2004, after he was the adjunct bishop, he told Dr. Velez and us that when he becomes the bishop of the diocese, he would address our need out here. He did. He did. And it made me so happy. 40 years later, he assigned a priest. His name was Stephen Parks. He's our founding priest. He was born in June of 1965. Forgive me, Father Parks, that I mentioned that. However, that is when I started praying for a church in this area. And he had brought it. Bishop Wensky, and he, and of course Bishop Norbert Dorsey, who bought the property, made all of this possible. And all I can say is, my cup runneth over, and please propagate the faith. Send your children to Catholic school. Follow through on that. That's all. God bless you.